Chapter 10. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Yauman began, and the whole class went quiet. I want you to put down your pens for a few minutes and listen to a very important announcement by these two young men. Mr. Yauman sat down, Augie and I walked to the front of the room, and I knew every eye in the place was on us. It was a grade 7 class, which should have made it less stressful than talking to a grade 8 class, but it didn't. It was strange, but having been with older kids the past few years, it made me nervous to be around kids my own age. Looking around the room, I even noticed a couple of kids I knew, kids who I'd left behind in grade 3 when I got kicked up to grade 5. My name is Augie, and this is Ricky. We're grade 8s, and we want to talk to you about something important, he began. We know you haven't been in the school very long, so you probably don't know Mr. Johnston very well. But how many of you like him? Everybody's hand went up. That was a good way to start, but hardly a surprise. Mr. Johnston wasn't just one of the best teachers in the school, he was also the best liked teacher in the school. And I guess you all know what happened to his snake during the break-in? That was awful, a girl in the front row said loudly. Yes, it was. How many of you would like to do something about it? Again, everybody's hand shot up into the air. Even better, here's our plan. As Augie started to explain things, I started thinking about him. We'd been friends since the first day of grade 5. We met on the first day. I don't remember a lot about that day, except that I was scared. We all had to stand in line outside the grade 5 class, and I didn't know anybody. All I knew was that they were older than me, and most of them, even the girls, seemed to be bigger. Just down the hall, close enough that I could see them, were the rest of the kids from my grade 3 class, the kids I'd known and played with and gone to school with since kindergarten, my friends. They were standing together, laughing and talking, waiting to go into the grade 4 room, and I wished I could have been waiting outside that door. I knew that it was supposed to be some kind of honor to skip a grade, and it made my father really happy, but I wanted to be standing with them instead of staring at them from down the hall. I was just kind of keeping my head down, trying not to stick out, even though I knew I did, and this kid came up and started talking to me. He said hello and made a couple of jokes and told me his name was Augie. I thought it was a strange name, but I didn't care what he was called. It felt a lot better talking to somebody instead of standing there feeling stupid and alone. And Augie acted the opposite of how I felt. He was cool and confident and seemed to have everything together. And while I didn't say much to him, I could tell that he was friendly and nice. And he was the biggest kid in the class. Being with him made me feel less scared. I soon found out that all the kids in the class were at least 1 year older than me, but a couple of kids, like Augie, were actually 2 years older. Maybe 2 years isn't much of a difference when one of you is 36 and the other is 38, but it's pretty big when you're in grade 5. I thought of it not in terms of age, but in terms of percentage. If I was 9 and they were 10 or 11 years old, they were between 10 and 20% older than me, and that was a lot of percent. I soon found out why Augie started to talk to me. He really didn't know anybody else in our class either. All of the people he'd been with, his friends, had passed at the end of the year and had moved on to grade 6. He'd been left behind. He was probably scared too, just in a different way, and he had a different way of showing it. I'd learned that with Augie, sometimes when he acted confident, he was confident. Other times when he acted confident, he was really scared and unsure of himself. And you want us to give you money? To you two? A boy asked. Just $1, Augie said. We need 400 kids to give us $1. But that's a lot of money, another boy said. You need that much to buy a snake? A girl asked. It isn't just a snake, I said. It's a boa constrictor. Will it be as big as the one that was killed? Another girl asked. No, that would cost too much. It'd be about half as long and a lot younger, I explained. And we need the money soon, Augie explained. We're hoping to buy the snake this weekend and give it to Mr. Johnston on Monday, so you'll have to bring in the money tomorrow or at least before Friday. And where do they bring the money to? Mr. Yauman asked. Me and Ricky will be in the lobby outside the office at lunch every day until Friday. Just bring the money down to us there. And can people make contributions to the fund before that? Mr. Yauman asked. Sure, I said. Good. Mr. Yauman removed his wallet from his pants and pulled out a $5 bill. Let me be the first in line. I held open a big brown envelope, and Mr. Yauman dropped the bill inside. Thanks a lot. I've got some money now, too, a girl said. So do I, another girl piped in. They came forward and dropped their money in the envelope. I could see that one had dropped in $0.25 and the other $1. Every quarter helped. Is there anything more, boys? Mr. Yauman asked. Yeah, there is one more thing we should tell everybody. This is all a surprise. Mr. Johnston doesn't know we're doing this, Augie smiled. When we're in the lobby by the office, we'll be sitting under a big sign that will say, Help buy new uniforms for the school basketball team. And the announcements you'll be hearing for the rest of the week will remind you to bring in your money for the new uniforms. That's pretty sneaky, Mr. Yauman said. It was Mr. Scully's idea, I said. Mr. Yauman said, excellent. So we'd like people not to even talk about giving money to buy a snake. We wouldn't want Mr. Johnston to overhear somebody talking in the hall. Just talk about buying new uniforms, and everybody in the school will know what you mean. Sounds like a well-thought-out plan, Mr. Yauman said. Well, boys, if there's nothing more, you'll have to excuse us so we can get back to our lessons. Thanks for the time, Augie said. Before the door had even closed behind us, we heard Mr. Yauman start teaching. That went pretty good, Augie said as we walked down the hall. It did go easier than I thought it would, I admitted. I'm glad you thought so. How about if you do most of the talking with the next class, Augie asked. I was hoping you could do it. Sure, no problem. I'll do the next class and maybe the next few after that. Thanks. That's okay. We still have 17 classes to go. There'll be plenty of chances for you to talk too.